Thank you, Mr. Brown. You're going to help people learn about different family structures.
Gee, golly gosh. I sure hope I can put some smiles on some folks. We'll be in touch soon, Mr. Gibbons. By the way, can I use the little boy's room?
Certainly. It's down the hall to your left.
Ah! Who are you?
I'm you from 14 years in the future.
You're the me from 40 years in the future?
No! I'm the you from 14 years in the future.
So, how's the family?
I don't have a family anymore. Only enemies and betrayers.
I'm sorry that that's where you are right now. Have you sought balm from Gilead and guidance from God?
I am God.
Oh boy, I don't exactly know who you are, but I can never be that egotistical.
You will be. You will be. Hey, Cody, what's the matter? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Oh boy, I just saw a horrible specter of my future if I were to go forward with this show. It would ruin the lives of my children, my wives, my entire family. I'm sorry, Mr. Gibbons. I've got to call this whole thing off.
By the way, this is how much each of the adults in your family are getting paid per episode.
Woo! Worth it!
I'm gonna meet some dude online and fall in love and want to leave my family.
The first 20 years, I don't know, are not going to be really great. And if they are great, then somebody's lying.
I mean, having favorites is not okay. If you want a successful family, you don't have favorites.
I am not married to 3 other women.
No, I'm just a narcissist.
I have tended to be moody and self-absorbed.
I'm not a good husband.
Hi, welcome back to the recap. I'm Angie, this is Tim, and Morty's over here.
He's down here.
We are reviewing this episode from Cody's favorite car dealership, Lexus of Las Vegas.
You can smell the savings. Okay.
We'll get to this point of location later. For announcements, as you could tell, there was no previously on cartoon because there were no previous episodes to the pilot episode, obviously. So I had an idea before I started my rewatch of a scenario of what would happen if the pre-fame Cody met the Cody of 2023. How would he react to his future self being in such an abysmal state?
Yeah, I like to think of it as like Diet Cody meets real Cody.
As he drinks his diet Dr. Pepper.
I wasn't even thinking that far ahead.
I originally wanted a Rick and Morty style meetup where Cody from the past would meet current Cody through some sort of extra dimensional portal, but it was actually Tim who suggested he just talk through a mirror because I guess that would have been easier to animate. Mm-hmm. And it was. And
much.
It would also be kind of like a horror film, right?
Sometimes I think portals are overplayed.
Yeah? How come?
Rick and Morty does it so much.
So just to give some exposition, I first watched Sister Wives way back in 2012 when there were only 2 seasons on Netflix. I don't think I mentioned this before on this channel, but Tim and I were both raised LDS. Mm-hmm. We met in an LDS young adult singles ward 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm. God, has it been that long?
Yeah, 2011.
And so you probably don't know what that is. Basically, it's like a congregation of just young people for the explicit purpose of trying to get them married as quickly as possible. Let's just say our relationship has lasted about 10 times as long as anybody else's. So
yeah,
we're an outlier in that regard.
Anyways, yes, that's probably a big reason I was so preoccupied with this show is because Cody belongs to a splinter group of Mormonism, and we believed in the mainstream Mormon church at some point in our lives. the way I want to approach this episode is to try and think back on my first impressions of Kody and the wives, because boy, have they changed.
Have they, though?
Yes, so people are going to come at me when I say this. When I first watched Sister Wives, I thought Kody was a good dad.
That's because your dad's terrible.
Yeah, my dad's a deadbeat dad. So when I saw this man trying to have these meaningful relationships with each of his kids, or so he claimed, I thought, wow, okay, he might be a polygamist. He might have a lot of kids, but he's able to maintain them. Obviously, that has aged very poorly because he doesn't.
It's not like we didn't all see it coming. It's like nobody's surprised how it turned out. I think the only thing that anybody's surprised about this show is that it took so damn long
for the cracks to... Well,
no, the cracks were already there. It's like a dam that had all these enormous cracks just leaking water, and yet they somehow kept it up for, 10 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's around the time they moved to Flagstaff. It became extremely obvious the wives just leave within 1 year. So, also, big 180. When I originally watched the show, my favorite wife was Mary.
I think a lot of people's was back then.
It was Mary because I thought she was unique. She was kind of a go-getter woman who didn't take crap from any people in her family. She got things done.
She seemed no nonsense.
Yes, and Christine was my least favorite, and we'll get to it later with all her fears of basic kitchen appliances. I'm like, yeah, you're kind of dumb.
I forgot. She really was afraid of everything. I think out of all of them, she was the most sheltered.
Yeah.
She was the most indoctrinated.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the first one to go.
Because I think at least Robin didn't homeschool her kids. She had them in public school. It wasn't until she came into the family she influenced Kody and the wives to put their kids in public school.
Oh my God. Just imagine Robin trying to teach anyone anything.
I guess it's a good thing they have a nanny/tutor, because I can't imagine her.
Why for Wyoming?
Let's do this. Sister Wives, Season 1, Episode 1. Meet Kody and the wives. This episode dropped mid-2010, just to give you some context.
They all look like babies.
The adults were babies?
Yeah, they look like baby faces. They're bright with the light of hope of getting out of their horrible financial situation. It's like every episode is like filming somebody who's won the lottery. That's how much light is in them.
This show must have seemed like a godsend to them. The episode starts off with Robin and Kody's wedding, but Robin is nowhere to be seen because she isn't going to be introduced in the pilot. At least, not yet. Which makes sense, right? She's not part of the OG family, so she doesn't get to have a first episode introduction.
So she's kind of like Captain America in the Avengers?
He wasn't there?
That's a deep cut. In the comic books, Captain America wasn't there till, I think, issue 3.
Mm-hmm. He's not part of the OG Avengers.
No, he's an honorary founding member of the Avengers.
That's so strange to think that.
Well, they weren't trying to build an MCU back then. They were just trying to sell comics.
We see Kody dancing with all of his wives and interacting with his children, whilst telling viewers that he is the exception to the stereotype of a typical polygamous man.
I think the only part about him that's not stereotypical is his, what did they call him? A metrosexual?
Yeah, his...
flamboyant nature.
Yeah, the fact that people in his high school thought he was gay. That's the only non-stereotypical thing I can think of about Kody.
He loves lavender.
He checks off all the polygamous boxes otherwise. The iconic logo of the male symbol with 3 female ones linked into it are shown. The setting is Lehi, Utah. Kody is shown driving his stupid Lexus and talking to the cameraman. Oh, by the way, when I was making the cartoon for this episode, I was looking for references of his sports car, and I found this tweet on Kody's official account that says, "We shot car shopping experience at Lexus of Las Vegas for used Toyota. The scene was cut because so many other things happened, #sisterwives." So this tweet was confusing for a couple reasons. One, the show has never had enough going on, let alone too much things happening. 2, this tweet happened in 2014, and he's talking about a car dealership in Vegas. So I'm a little confused. Was Kody planning on buying 2 sports cars, or is this tweet referring to the one he is driving in the pilot?
He needed a backup Lexus?
A backup Lexus.
Uh-huh.
Lexus is the pink drink.
Did I say plexus?
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Either way, the way this man hemorrhages money on these impractical luxury sports cars is insane.
If this guy did anything that made sense with money, with the money they made on this show, he would be far more wealthy than he is now. This guy pisses away money like nobody's business. This is what happens when you give hillbillies who none of their kids have shoes, and they're running around in their plig mansion, and you give them money. What are they going to do with it? They don't know what to do with it. They're just, geodes.
We get Kody's spiel that he loves marriage and is a repeat offender. He's adopted a faith that not only embraces that lifestyle, but recommends it. Their religion likes to reward good behavior. If they see that you can manage one marriage well, the church elders give the go-ahead that you can marry again. And those weren't his exact words. That's what I got from what he said. His actual line was, if you're good with one marriage, they figure you'd be good with two. I hope they think I'll be good with four. And I just assumed they meant the higher-ups in the church. Who knows?
Super gross.
Either way, even at this point, Kody wasn't doing well in any of his marriages, as we have heard through the book and revelations in more recent seasons. He might have been getting along with Janelle. We are on our way to meet the fam for the first time. We are introduced to all three wives and some of the middle children.
I haven't ever watched this first episode. I've only ever seen clips of it. But every time I do, all of the adults, especially Mary, they look at the camera like they're little orphan Annie looking at
Daddy Warbucks.
Yes. They look at the camera like, you're going to give me money now, right?
It's creepy. They're super excited all the time. Mary, Janelle, and Christine have a section of the house designated to their part of the family. Kody married the wives 20, 17, and 16 years ago, respectively. We are told one of the first lies of the season. The polygamist man declares to us that he fell in love again, and fell in love again, which is not true because as of recently, he has stated for more than one of these women, he has either never loved them or Mary deceived him into marriage.
Or he's full of shit and just decided to rewrite history.
Oh,
also,
that's probably it.
Also, going back when he said that, he loves marriage. That's why he's a third-time offender. I think he loves marriage. I don't think he loves any of these women, though.
Yeah, he loves the concept of marriage more than any of these women he's married. We get more info on the quantity and age ranges of the children each wife has. And I'm not going to go over them because you already know. Basically, Janelle has a 10-year age difference between her youngest and oldest. And Christine has a 15-year age difference between Aspen and her unborn daughter, Truly. Christine enlightens us on the living arrangements of the family. Janelle's section is the biggest one, taking up part of the ground and second level, followed by Christine, who only occupies the basement, with Mary having the smallest partition of the house on the second floor. Janelle adds that this house was constructed by a polygamist who wanted his family to live under one roof, while still maintaining their own autonomy.
Didn't work out, though. Otherwise, he'd still be living there. Also, when you were talking about the unborn daughter, Truly, I was imagining a little fetus with little transition lenses.
With little transition lenses. That's so cute. Christine continues, saying all of them were married to Kody before Logan was born. They don't comprehend anything differently. We've raised all of the kids, so they are all ours. The family tries to have dinner as a whole 3 times a week. Kody educates us about the differences between the mainstream Mormon church and the sect that he now follows. Polygamy was disavowed by the LDS Church 120 years ago. He likens this split to Catholics and Protestants.
It's complicated and stupid for everybody involved.
Kody himself was born into the mainstream church. He was raised on a ranch in cold northern Wyoming. When he was on his mission at 20 years old, his dad converted to another brand of Mormonism, this one embracing the principle of plural marriage. At 21, Kody, who wanted to get into his dad's good graces, also converted to this cult, and that is where he met Mary, who was the bait, the deceiver, as he would like to call her nowadays.
It's so weird. The idea that I'm going to dedicate 2 years of my life preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, and then you come back and be like, you decided to join a different one? Okay.
It would be funny if the people who he's baptized ever come into contact with him right after his mission, and he says to them, sorry I led you astray, this one is the right religion.
Yeah, it's super weird. My dad grew up in the same town as Cody.
Yeah, that's a story.
Yeah, that's a weird story.
My father-in-law went to the same ward as Wynn. He was around Cody's sister's ages, because Cody has older sisters.
They all thought that was super weird when the Browns joined the AUB.
Mm-hmm.
The first time we were watching this, my dad's like, wait, is that Cody Brown?
And he actually knew his dad's name. He's like, yeah, I remember Wynn. And I'm like, okay,
right.
that's proof that you knew these people. Cody fully expected to have more wives after marrying Mary since it was an expectation. After all, Mary's dad had 5 wives. Emphasis on had, because we do find out in season 17, all of Bonnie's sister wives left. I don't know if this was before or after Mary's dad passed away. Again, they're trying to make this look good.
They're doing this fluff piece type of thing.
Mary's dad and I discussed the lifestyle and the faith all the time. I converted, and within months, I married her. Cody says that he is in advertising sells, which makes it so that he is either really free or really busy. He is either drowning in a 60-hour work week or has an extra long weekend, which he then uses to bond with his family. It's important for me to have that kind of freedom. At the same time, I've been very afraid of having an employer understand where I'm coming from, or simply out of my own personal fear of their potential prejudice towards my lifestyle. And when he said this line, I fully believed he was talking about health insurance for his children. Mm-hmm. He has admitted in the past that he purposefully didn't have all of his children on his health insurance for fear that employers would reject him once they calculated how much they would be paying if he were to become their employee.
Sales is the best kind of job for Cody because you need to be just the most egotistic person to do sales.
Why?
I don't know. You just have to have boundless confidence, just a belief in your own ability to charm other people.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's selling guns. Why isn't he also doing these pyramid schemes? You have to have a lot of confidence in your product.
I think the pyramid schemes are kind of a woman's game. Even if he could do well at it, I don't think he'd do it because he'd think it as being emasculating.
Yeah, emasculating. We get snippets of the oldest girls eating some cantaloupe. Cody then gives us some plague talk of how his daughters are sisters from the same mister. He then touches Peyton's shoulder and goes, and he's a brother from another mother. All the while, Logan is at the kitchen table with his head in his hand. He responds to the statement, somebody referred to us as pliglets. And that statement, it reminded me of one of the Brown cousins. I think his name is Benjamin Brown, and his TikTok handle used to be Pliglet. And someone asked him if he was related to anyone on Sister Wives, and he replied that Cody was his paternal uncle. Just a fun fact.
All polygamists are related.
Mary attests of the extreme high level of love and acceptance they, as parents, have. It doesn't matter if they want to live our lifestyle or omit religion altogether, as long as they are strong and firm in what their own beliefs are. And I'll get back to this statement. Janelle says that the end goal for the children is for all of them to become a contributing part of society who is ethical and moral. She continues, you can't marry until you go to college. I don't care what it is as long as it's some sort of education. So that boded true for Aspen, Leon, Logan, Hunter, and Dayton. Those are the only 5 I know who graduated with at least their 4-year degree. Mackenzie and Maddie dropped out to get married within their first year of college. I don't blame them. Sometimes college is not for everybody.
I kind of feel like people in the Sister Wives community shit on them because of that, and it's just get your own life. I don't judge people for that. Sometimes people find a different path in life.
Janelle hopes the kids will marry out of love, not out of obligation, or because they have to. This hope that is coming from Janelle was also confusing to me because she has repeatedly stated in the book and even in a couple of episodes that Cody and her didn't have a typical lovey-dovey marriage. She even said in her own chapter of the Becoming Sister Wives book that she married Cody almost out of practicality since she believed him to be the best man she knew to be a father figure to her future children.
Janelle's got a low bar.
Someone who has also gone 180 in their views of how relationships should be established is Cody. I believe in marrying for love, so I hope they do that. Unless I'm marrying a woman who will give me clout within this new cult I've converted to, then I don't have to be attracted to them. At that point, love is a non-factor. He tells us how much of a busy lover he is as a polygamist. He goes on dates at least 3 times a week, each of those times being a date with each individual wife. He admits that sometimes these dates suck because the most they can do for that day is a short drive. These small moments of privacy give each couple the space to bond and connect with each other. The big confession of this episode is that he did, at one point, keep tabs on how often he went out with the OG wives. I have to do this because sooner or later, somebody's gonna complain that they are being robbed of spending time with me. And I'm assuming even this level of time organization was scrapped when Robin came into the family. Because I recently watched a YouTuber recap a TikTok video. It had 2 clips that were juxtaposed against each other. The first clip happened in Vegas when Christine was relaying to Cody the extracurricular schedule of several of her children, and she was trying to explain how Truly liked her lunch packed. And all the while, Cody was like on his phone. And while he was doing this, Christine asked him, "Are you going to retain this?" And he's like, "Nah, probably not." And then the next clip was Robin in her confessional saying how great of a father Cody was because he's memorized Saul's schedule down to his bath times, I think, and how well Ariella ate for him. It was kind of gross seeing the discrepancy because he has cannibalized the time scheduling that he would have delegated to Christine and then used that all up on Robin.
Now the mental energy and all that stuff. You know, one of the common complaints against polygamist families is that because of the inequality between wives, the children can suffer because either the other children bully the children of other wives, or worse, the mothers can bully the children of other wives. Cody is the only one anyone's ever heard of where Cody bullies the children of the wives that he hates. It's the most petty thing in the world to treat the children of a woman worse because you're upset at that woman.
Yeah, and that has gone on for the last several seasons.
He's such a weak-willed little worm man.
Mary says a perplexing line that polygamy is great because not having her husband 2 days in a row means that she has a lot of time to spend on herself and pursue her own hobbies and interests. I have a public service announcement. You can do that in monogamy too. Tim works from home and we spend a lot of time together, but while he is busy at work, I can just do my own thing. I can do recaps. I can do my pretty time-consuming animations. I can work. I never thought having constant access to my spouse prevented the growth of my own passions and hobbies. This is one of the many false polygamy perks these women have told themselves in order to feel better about their marriage arrangements.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
They then clarify the sleeping arrangements between the parents. It's boring. Only sex between the one wife and Cody. Mary subtly hints that they do not engage in lesbian sex, nor are there any threesomes within these marriages. These relationships never cross. We don't go weird. It was annoying to hear that because you just told us that you were okay with your children following their own path, which I'm assuming also includes their sexual orientation. And then a few minutes later, she takes that back and says, but we don't go weird. Because remember in season 11, when Leon came out, Mary kept telling them, I don't know, it's weird. And she had to catch herself saying, oh no, not you. I meant my feelings about it are weird. I'm thinking, no, you thought that was weird.
I'm in favor of any type of relationship where people are loving and supporting each other. People want to get into some kind of polyamorous situation. Good on you. If you can make it work, make it work. But this weird asymmetrical thing where it's the one guy, because he's so good, he's awarded another wife. And then the women that are just, we're just little objects, but we have so many perks. It's like, God, maybe these people would get along better if they did get weird. I mean, build that relationship. Maybe you wouldn't hate each other if you got a little weird sometimes. Seriously. Ugh.
There's this hypocrisy in their religion where they want to have ultra-conservative, squeaky clean sexual behavior, but also the man is having lots of sex with lots of different women. It's so hypocritical of them to be calling other people weird when they're in this weird kind of effed up situation.
Yeah.
Mary claims that the way this dynamic works is by having each woman support the other wives in their marriages to Cody. This includes their sexual relationships with him. And what she meant by that was, you can't get jealous if he has sex with other women, which rings so much more true for her because at this point Mary is a spinster.
I'd be surprised if any of them had had sex since Truly was conceived.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't think Janelle and Cody?
No,
not
since really.
Savannah? Okay.
No.
We get a clip of Mary and Cody discussing his rotation with the wives. She claims, when he's ornery with one wife, then he gets weird with me, and I don't want that. It's imperative that he has a good relationship with them, and the sexual nature is definitely a part of that good relationship. She lies some more. They do that. I do that, and that's okay. And it's very apparent watching this in hindsight that all the adults were trying to weave this narrative of how functional this system has always been, because in the season 16 tell-all, Mary did reveal that for at least a decade, she and Cody have not been intimate. And that was around the time the first episode aired.
It's super weird. They say that they support each other by not getting jealous, which doesn't make any sense, because that seems like the only person they're supporting is Cody.
Commercial break, and we now watch as Mary is in Leon's room jumping on their bed to wake them up to go to school. Today is a special day since it is time for Cody's special announcement. We are then subjected to Mary's backstory into the family. She was introduced to Cody through his sister. She was 19 at the time, and Cody was 3 years her senior. They were only dating for 3 months until he popped the question. She downplays the speed of their courtship, saying that it's normal in their polygamous community to know someone for an extremely short period before making such a life-changing decision.
It's normal on drug cartels to kill a person after only knowing them for 2 weeks. That doesn't make it good or normal.
Your mom married when she was 19.
My mom did marry after 3 months, so it's not that big a deal.
Mary always had the expectation that Cody would marry other women. Her second expectation was also to have at least 8 kids, but sometimes things just don't pan out exactly as we envisioned.
8 kids? What economy did they live in?
The kids have told us that they grew up hungry a lot, so I don't think they care about the economy. I think they just care about busting out as many kids as they can. She's very lucky and blessed to have the one child that she did. The benefit of having sister wives is that Leon gets to have their cake and eat it too. They get to be an only child with a doting mom but have the camaraderie of a dozen siblings.
I don't think she has camaraderie with her siblings. Leon was always off to the side.
Yeah.
Leon wasn't part of the whole thing because Leon had this thing with Mary.
Yeah.
I think that the other kids kind of resented Leon because of that.
Yeah. Got to go to an expensive university.
More importantly, Leon had their own mother that nobody else had. So you can't tell me that that wasn't something that the kids felt at some point at least.
We learned that Mary is studying psychology in hopes to be some sort of counselor that helps at-risk teenagers. And I made this joke a long time ago in which I told him that she got into LuLaRoe so that she can put people in a position to be at-risk adults once that MLM sucks them dry of all their money. And then she can go back and start being some sort of psychologist for them.
Oh,
it's all about the long haul.
It's all about the long game.
But for now, Mary is playing some sort of pseudo-dentist at home since she now has to deal with Peyton and Gwen's loose teeth.
Oh, this part was creepy.
She bribes both of them with $1 if they would just sit still and let her yank their teeth out. On the couch, she says that each person is always on the lookout of what they can do to help another member of the family, and it has worked out totally well. We get her tagline of the opening. This lifestyle made each of us better in what we do. At this point in time, Cody is appreciative of his first wife's presence. If it wasn't for her initiative, they would have probably just been monogamous.
Well, they were for like 3 years, right?
Okay. To the producers, Janelle, Christine, and Cody give Mary a lot of kudos for sort of patching all 4 of them together. They liken her to being someone in the Department of Mergers and Acquisition, which isn't totally honest. In the book, Christine was always crushing on Cody because she always hung around their friend group. But she wanted to be a third wife, so she had to wait for someone else to marry Cody. And for Janelle, there is this excerpt from the book. I'm going to read it. And this is Cody talking. There was never any thought in my mind or in Mary's of Janelle becoming a wife. I wanted to see Janelle once more before we moved away, so I invited her to lunch with me. Technically, it's inappropriate for a married man to have lunch alone with another woman, but Janelle and I were friends, There was no thought of courting, so lunch was purely platonic. But during that lunch, that same thought that I'd had a few months earlier in Janelle's office crossed my mind. There was something between Janelle and me. I was a married man, so I had to be careful with my words. I tried to be as offhand as possible when I said to Janelle, maybe you and I should consider you and me. So, according to this passage, I don't think Mary had intentions of making her former sister-in-law her sister wife. This was something that Cody wanted. These two arrangements didn't really have a lot of Mary's input. The only time when Mary actually orchestrated something between Cody and another wife was with Robin. So I don't buy this narrative that Mary needed to bond with Janelle and Christine in order to go forward with these marriages. But again, they're trying to paint some sort of picture of what a first wife does in these communities.
They're just trying to create a narrative because Mary had such a strong influence in the whole Robin thing. And if there's one thing about this family is that they talk to each other to try to get their stories straight before they tell the camera anything. Or at least at the beginning.
Nowadays, like a he said, she said. We segue to a montage of the family trying to tidy up the backyard. We get more drivel from Mary that this support system makes each of them better. She brings up polygamy perk number 2. If she weren't in the picture, she already has a parent in place that would raise her child in the way she wants them to be raised. She recounts the passing of her younger sister, a second wife to a polygamist man. This sister, Teresa, passed away from cancer and her children were taken care of by the legal wife and their dad. No other support system makes it so that in the event you are unavailable, someone else can take care of your child. And clearly I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
That's what extended family members are for. Because let's be real, Robin didn't like her sister wives' parenting styles, so she didn't want them to be surrogate parents if she were absent. But this arrangement is being touted as a benefit for this exact reason.
Hypothetical. Let's say Mary was dying. Which of the wives would she want to raise Leon at this point?
Is Robin married to Cody?
No.
Oh boy. Oh, dang.
That's how we know this is BS.
Probably.
She'd probably send Leon to go with Teresa's husband's legal wife.
Janelle and Mary did not get along. Christine and Mary did not get along. So maybe she would put aside those feelings because she has no choice.
Maybe that's why she was so excited about Robin. Because she's like, finally, this thing that's not true will be true with Robin. I don't think Robin would care about Leon.
Yeah, it's only one more kid. We then move on to the second wife. We see Janelle in her part of the house up and ready for work at about 6 in the morning.
Morning people, am I right?
She informs us of polygamy perk number 3. She says, I work with a bunch of women who are stressed out about having to prepare dinner once they come home from work. I don't have that issue because of Christine, my sister wives. So I'm going to say something on this. I also grew up with a mom who had a similar work schedule where they'd be gone for 12 hours out of the day. My mom usually didn't cook dinner. It would be too late at that point when she'd be home. It was usually my dad or one of my grandparents that made sure there was something on the table. So again, these things they try to convince us is a benefit are not exclusive to polygamy. We are then presented with Janelle's brood of children and their ages. And again, I'm not going over them because we already know who these children are. In the past, Cody would, every day, wake up to make sure he greeted Janelle goodbye before she took off. She took these gestures for granted, but nowadays, she appreciates his effort to be a supportive husband. We get her history within the family. Like Cody, Janelle was also raised LDS, but alleges that she never knew polygamists were a thing, even though she grew up in an area that just stinks of them. She didn't say stinks of them. She just said that's full of them. That seems sort of insane that Janelle never knew that aspect about her own religion until she was in her 20s, because the first joke I heard about Mormon polygamist was when I was in middle school. And it's kind of weird that she was just that oblivious.
Yeah, if you live in a place with Mormons in Utah or Idaho or Wyoming, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting 2 clans walking through Walmart. And you know who they are because the women always are dressed exactly the same. They're always wearing those prairie dresses. Their hair's always styled in the exact same way. way. It's always just hairsprayed to death. And then they just have so many kids. And either the little girls are also dressed up like this, which is creepy, or the boys look like they came
Off a ranch.
They're all wearing bolo neckties, and they all look a little...
Inbred.
I was going to say weird in the face, but you know damn well what they are. So the idea that she didn't know what a polygamist was is bullcrap.
The way she introduces her encounter with Mary and Cody is that they were her novel polygamist friends. I have these friends, and they're polygamist. So I'm going to point out Cody and Mary were monogamist at that point. What she should have said was, I have these novel polygamists within my own family because I have 5 mothers-in-law, because my husband's parents are polygamist. That's more interesting.
Yes.
Because remember, Janelle was married to Mary's brother for about a year or so before she moved on to Cody, which I don't blame her because I've seen pictures of Mary's brother. He's kind of a potato. And Cody did look like a stereotypical jock.
That's before he let his hair grow long, right? Okay.
So, anyways, she claims that this transition to seeing her ex-sister-in-law's husband in a new light wasn't a big jump for her. We now meet the most mature member of this family. We see him in his natural state of being a 5th parent, waking up 30 minutes before his siblings to be sure they have breakfast in their bellies. Logan fries eggs, shreds some cheese on the grater in preparation to make breakfast burritos, and washes some strawberries in what I assume to make smoothies. He carries Savannah out of bed while simultaneously checking on Gabriel to make sure his things are packed. And I'm thinking, shouldn't Cody or Mary be the ones doing this?
Oh, nobody interrupts Mary's sleep.
Oh, yeah. Because Christine is extremely pregnant at this time, so she gets some slack. So what the happened to these polygamy perks they were touting?
The biggest perk of polygamy is having children raise their children.
Like the Duggars. Ugh. But the parents aren't worried how parentified their son is because they claim he likes it. He just came super responsible. He takes it very seriously.
Yeah, because I'm sure that raising him and telling him over and over again how he's super responsible and praising and rewarding him didn't make him exactly what they wanted, which is their free live-in nanny.
Logan never had a chance. Janelle is shown walking the steps into her office building. She says that she works long hours because having a family this large requires more than one breadwinner. But let's be real, even if they had half the members in this family right now, Janelle would still be working the same amount of hours because she doesn't want to be a housewife. She doesn't like doing domestic work.
I don't think she even likes her children.
Yeah, she'll say it later that when she does have days off and she's chauffeuring kids left and right or helping out in the house, it kind of drives her crazy. So let Christine do that.
Janelle, you be you, but don't make being you virtue.
As she talks to the producers in the kitchen, you can see there is a drawing of Cody and a few other guys on the fridge. That portrait is very similar to Cody's Twitter profile pic to this day. I don't know if you noticed. They might not be the same one. Either way, Cody loves a good caricature of himself.
He gets good character artists, because I know some people, they'd look at him, draw him like the Geico caveman.
I don't know if he's had recent caricatures with his frizzy hair.
He's got some looks going on.
Janelle then gives a somewhat annoying line. I love this lifestyle because I get my children. I get to do the really fun things with them without having to do the cooking or chauffeuring. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's because Logan is the one that does those things. She then continues saying the benefits of polygamy is having someone watch your kids. Because fast forward into the future, the family now employ a paid caretaker for the remaining small kids. They have someone that can watch their kids without the downside of them their husband. So as much as I dislike Robin, she has this figured out in that a nanny is way less money than a sister wife.
So much less annoying, too.
We get more B-roll of the family chopping down some dead trees in front of their house.
Why is this what they always do?
So boring. The one interesting tidbit is the introduction of the family dog Drake. His origin story was that Janelle found him and brought him home to Mary. This is the clip that people keep hearkening back to when they say that Cody used to like dogs. He says that he was a rancher who grew up with plenty of animals, including dogs. They were intelligent, you would speak to them, and they would answer back. He ends the statement by pointing to Drake and saying, "He is trouble," to which Leon and Mary have to protest their father's disdain. "He is a good dog. What did he do? So no, I don't think Kody ever liked dogs.
Ranchers, people that work with animals, they don't always have the best opinions of dogs.
Yeah, because Kody has said this when Drake died. He was kind of perplexed why everyone was so attached to the dog because he said, as a rancher, you saw the cycle of life and death happen all the time growing up on the farm. Janelle then tells some tall tales about polygamy and that you reap what you sow when living this way. I have to work at a relationship with Kody, as well as with Christine and Mary. And again, I don't think any of these adults ever really worked through because Kody has admitted on the last season that this polygamous lifestyle produced so many children that they were constantly distracted and couldn't focus on the interpersonal connections within the adults. I don't think the original 4 parents ever worked on their relationships as hard as they are claiming in this episode.
Maybe the reason why polygamy worked in the ye old times is because people's life expectancy was 25. They die before their kids all left, so they wouldn't ever have to deal with their things. And the kids would be like, wow, my parents never hated each other.
They died back in ye old biblical times.
If they didn't live to like 900 years old.
Oh yeah.
Like Methuselah.
That's way too long. It is now Christine's and her children's turn to be introduced with a graphic. She tells us her order within the family and the ages of her 4 daughters and son. From the get-go, Christine was smitten with Kody. She hung around Mary and him as a friend and would persistently flirt with him. But it took years for them to get to the point of marriage, because again, Christine wanted a wedge wife to go between her and Mary.
Also, I don't think that Kody was smitten by Christine.
Yeah, sad to put it that way, why it took so long for them to get married. Christine was raised in the lifestyle, so this was the marriage arrangement she always expected to follow once she was old enough to choose. Any unmarried men were already struck off her list of potential boyfriends, since she never wanted to be married to a man by herself.
That just seems like she didn't have confidence in herself.
Yeah, it's like, I need a buffer.
Yeah, like she doesn't think she's good enough. The only thing worse than having an attraction to a man who gets married to another woman is to marry a man who doesn't return your affections, because now you're stuck with this guy and you're never going to get the thing you want from them. It would have been better if she just got another man.
Polygamy doesn't work. We then see a sleep-deprived Kody walking into the hallway, seeming to have forgotten something, only to turn around and go back through the door he came in. He first explains that his clothes are dispersed across all the wives' closets. He then proceeds to tell us some falsehoods. I will shower here. He makes a gesture with his thumb to Christine's bathroom. And then I have to run upstairs twice to get clothes that I can't find here. Because, remember, Christine would complain that he never would settle in her part of the house because he didn't like her shower head or something.
Also, why can't he just wear the clothes that are down there? Why does he have to wear this specific outfit?
I guess because he likes to plan out his wardrobe when he goes to work. In the meantime, Christine concurs with this description of his morning routine. He needs triplicates of everything. The next scene is what made Christine my least favorite wife. When I first started watching the show, she tells us that she doesn't have a toaster, nor does she use microwaves since they are a health hazard. Her friend sent her one of those did you know facts, which of course scared her into believing toasters kill a myriad of people because they killed more than sharks in a year. And I'll just say something. Sharks are weak when it comes to the killing humans game.
I love how she took the exact opposite that you were supposed to come from this factoid. You're supposed to go, oh, wow, sharks, they're not really that dangerous. But instead she goes, oh my god, toasters. She probably watched Jaws growing up or something. By the way, Steven Spielberg completely regrets filming Jaws because it created a huge ecological disaster in which millions of sharks were killed, when in fact sharks are extremely safe creatures.
And docile. Sharks kill an average of 3 people around the world annually. Again, they are weak sauce when it comes to killing humans.
Well, anyway, Christine obviously never took a statistics course because
she be dumb. Christine carries on and places half a dozen slices of bread on a baking sheet to heat them in the oven. Like Kody, Christine is also absent-minded. She forgets about the toast and has to come running back to a smoky kitchen. By then, it is too late. The bread slices are now smoldering black. That's the thing about toasters. There's a little timer on them that prevents that from happening.
She's a mess.
Logan, the lone voice of reason, has to add a little dig into Christine's morning chaos. He tells her that burning the toast via the oven is more likely to start a house fire than just using the toaster.
Logan, you blessed little child.
All the adults on the couch laugh at Christine's silliness. We get more of her PR script. I love this lifestyle. I love the idea of the companionship and the freedom that it gives me. There's too many things I want to do and be free for. I just like the idea of having someone around. This is the same problem I had with Janelle's confessional. Like Logan, Christine has parentified Aspen and probably McKelty into picking up the slack due to this environment they created. So when Christine, Mary, and Janelle tell us that this lifestyle gives them the freedom to go pursue their hobbies or career, that's not the case. Because one, it doesn't. Polygamy sucks out more time out of you since you have more children with less adults around. That lack of parental figures then have to be supplemented by the oldest children. It's obnoxious.
It's child abuse is what it is.
This is the same issue I have with these TLC shows that feature these large families.
They're so wholesome. Oh, look how wholesome they are. Isn't it so wholesome the way that they ruin these children's lives? It's effed up.
But she maintains the viewpoint that she had always wanted sister wives, sometimes more so than the actual man. We then hear the first instance of her foreshadowing abilities. There are situations where a girl will come into a family and just want the guy and proceeds to rip the family apart. She goes on saying that she wasn't interested in that. She wanted relationships with all members of the family, not just Cody. And good on you, Christine, because according to her social media, she is very much present in all 6 of her grandchildren's lives. And I suspect she's still very active in the lives of a lot of Janelle's and her children. So she's worked hard to keep that title of mom and grandma, unlike some other parents.
I just think that it's so weird because she's been accused of the exact opposite. Here, Christine is the one who's trying to make it work, and yet she's the one that's scapegoated.
Here we see evidence that none of us needed. That Christine is trying to make this whole polygamous thing work in the most honest way possible, and yet she's accused of this exact opposite thing by Cody. Christine then confers upon us the most terrible marriage advice. They say if you're having problems with 2 wives, marry a 3rd, because they'll even it out. Which, again, is not the case. I watched a Netflix docuseries called 3 Wives, 1 Husband. One of the families had just taken on a 3rd wife, and it created more strife for the existing wives and husband because they didn't know how to handle the newest wife's extremely needy personality. It was almost like watching an anti-Christine. So no, if you are having problems in a marriage, the fastest way for it to die is if you add more variables into the mix instead of getting to the root of your issues. That's another PSA. Adding babies and more partners are not the glue that holds relationships together.
It makes me think of the one line from Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah?
Having a really, really hard time and then having a baby is like being in a house that's on fire and then somebody handing you a baby.
This is just another thing I have to worry about. Cody does confess that out of all the women, Christina's the hardest to set up some sort of date night due to her being the actual caretaker of the 12 children. They portray her as a domestic goddess who keeps the home running smoothly. The last couple of seasons was really surprising to me because we have found out that sometime during one of Christine's pregnancies, not only was she the stay-at-home mom, she also had some sort of night job which required Cody to tuck in her kids, and Cody refused to do that. So I was thinking, man, this woman runs the household, is working a part-time night job, and is gestating humans. In hindsight, this just really shows how much all the adults have taken her for granted.
Yeah, Cody's a complete...
There is a brief interaction of Christine having Savannah practice her name in flower. The first time they showed how Savannah's name was spelled, I just thought it was a typo, but I guess there are variations of Savannah spelled with just one N. Christine clarifies her role in relation to all the children that aren't biologically hers. Savannah is technically Janelle's, but we've raised all the children together. If someone were to debate that Savannah is not mine, I would adamantly disagree. Speaking of raising children, they give details on how their kids have been educated up until recently.
They weren't.
They've been sending them to plig school. And I saw a newspaper clipping on Reddit a while ago that showed Mary's mom as the principal of some sort of private school for people in their community. So I'm guessing this is the homeschool coalition the adults are talking about. And I immediately thought, how did Logan and some of the older children turn out so smart if this was the curriculum they were being taught until they reached high school? It sort of astonished me on some level that they didn't turn out dumber. Because for most of the older children, they've grown into pretty bright adults, because I can only imagine that in these plig schools, they teach the same things all other religious educational programs try to instill.
Adam and Eve rode dinosaurs. The world's 3,000 years old. And stuff like other cultures didn't exist.
Yeah, so a lot of questionable history and science lessons. We get another montage of playful exchanges between Christine and the kids. Maddie jokingly throws rags at Christine, who fails to dodge them, then tries to chuck them back at her. Isabel whines about not wanting to watch a certain DVD, whilst Christine mimics her daughter's complaints. And Christine tries to facilitate a dispute between Aspen and Peyton, where the oldest daughter has her brother in some sort of headlock over markers. Mary's one compliment about the third wife is then voiced. You say you have to work on being nurturing. Even if it doesn't come by naturally, you do a really good job. We then cut to a scene in Christine's dining room where Garrison and Gabriel are trying to see if they can make sense of where Truly's feet are.
Oh, okay. She's still inside. Okay.
The heavily pregnant mother happily proclaims that despite not being born yet, Truly loves all of her siblings. She reveals her full name to the audience, Truly Grace Brown. Other options that were scrapped were middle names starting with an A, but then her name would have been spoken as Truly A. Brown, which would have sounded ridiculous. And I'm thinking that's where you drew the line on what name sounded ridiculous. You named a kid McKelty. Truly A. Brown isn't out of the ballpark.
Also, who names people by saying their middle initial like that unless they specifically want you to do that? This isn't Harry S. Truman here.
We then return to the never-ending scenes of the family cleaning their stupid yard. This time Christine is raking, whilst happily telling us of the upcoming announcement. Oh, the suspense! We then cut to Mary and Cody in her kitchen smiling at each other, with Mary nervously giggling. She lets the cat out of the bag. Surprise, Cody is courting another woman. This will be a new experience for all the children who've never witnessed their dad date someone new. We hear her name for the first time. Her name is Robin. She's 30 and has 3 children. And it feels strange for me hearing what Robin's age is because I'm 30 and I can't imagine already having that many kids, let alone theoretically adopting 13 other children as my own.
And marrying Cody.
And marrying Cody. Because I think Robin was pregnant with Dayton at 19 and then had him when she was 20. So she really started early. Everyone finally gathers to hear Cody's message. He starts off with a zinger. Do you guys like Robin?
Okay. Here we see a classic example of Cody being the most confusing MFer ever during his announcements. He always comes out of it with some sort of weird logic puzzle. He'll say something and everybody has to stop and be, wait, what did he say? And he's gonna do that again here.
Yeah, in 7.5 months, Truly's not the little one anymore. Do you guys like Robin? He never can just tell them how it is. He has to have it in a riddle.
It's like a train is heading southwest from St. Louis, and then there's another train heading northeast from Santa Fe. Or which state are they gonna meet up? And it's just say it, Cody.
He has to build it up because these sorts of announcements usually revolve around him. Some of the kids answer in the affirmative. Yeah, we like Robin. He resumes. Well, Robin likes us. He asks the fam, what do you think of the family growing by not just one family member with the new baby, but to 4 more people than that? Instead of going to 16, we'll be a family of 21.
And everyone's, what are you saying? Are the other wives pregnant? Seriously, these weird math games.
Janelle talks about the burning in her bosom. She doesn't say that phrase in the episode, she says that in the book. That she felt there was another wife that was going to come into the family one day. Christine was of the exact opposite viewpoint in that she thought these inclinations Mary and Janelle had were insane. It's fine how it is. I don't want the boat rocked. Of course, since this is the Cody show, her misgivings were ignored.
You know, if she really loved the family, not the man, then she should have loved the idea of that man slipping it in to another woman.
I think it's because Mary and Janelle are more concerned about getting a TLC paycheck than Christine is.
Yeah, probably. Christine's more unconcerned with things like that.
At least in the beginning. Kody then tries to explain the situation to the younger kids in words they definitely won't understand. She has not consented, and I have not asked. Gwen pipes up and asks, what the f*** does that mean?
She has not consented, and I have not asked? Wait, what does that mean?
Christine then, of course, has to lay it out for her. She might have a mom and some new siblings, but none of the kids should go about addressing Robin as their mom just yet because nothing is official. Which is funny because in the next episode or two, Robin already wants her daughters to call Cody dad, even though they haven't had a spiritual ceremony yet. So she's not pumping the brakes in terms of wanting to brainwash the children.
It sounds like Christine is hoping that it won't work out.
Yeah.
It's like, don't get your hopes up yet. This might not happen.
Oh, she was wishing. Cody then starts to force an answer out of some of the kids after not hearing enough feedback. He prods Aspen for an answer. She says that it's fine, but admits that integrating more people into the family will be weird at first. Cody then turns his attention to Mykelti, who nods in agreement that she is good with Robin's arrival. And I don't know if Mykelti was already a nanny for Robin's kids at this time. If that's the case, she's had better relations with her future step-siblings than any of the Brown children. So, of course, this is something she'd be on board for. Leon is asked the same question and gives a similar response to Aspen. I like her, but it's weird. Mary, who doesn't like things being weird, has to explore her child's apprehensions. What's weird about it to you? They calmly reply that the siblings and parents they have now have all grown together. To add more people would take some further adjustments. Regardless, they do claim to like Robin and her 3 kids.
It kills me just how sensible these children are reacting to this insane idea.
Yeah, because, again, the adults have said that they had peers, I'm assuming other kids in their church, who've had moms marry into their family, so this wasn't a new phenomenon. They are taking it in stride, but it's still new for them.
Well, I mean, it is. They've never had to deal with this their entire life, like they said. All 3 of them were married before Logan was born. And I'm surprised these kids aren't crying or yelling or screaming. It sounds like Cody's, guess what? I'm gonna another woman, and they're just looking there. We've determined that what you're doing is insane and irrational, but we do not have the ability to veto it at this time. So you may go ahead. You do not have our support, but you do have our permission.
The ongoing parade of statements giving Robin the benefit of the doubt then come from Christine. She can have her pick. She can have her pick. I know she's a mom. She's been married before. She has 3 kids, but she can still have her pick. And she's honestly really choosing us. She wants to join the family. We know how frequently Robin keeps claiming that she had other choices. It's only been more recently that she keeps reminding the audience that she had a ton of suitors that were asking her dad to court her. And in this moment, we hear Christine making that very clear. I wonder if Robin kept telling them these stories as a way to say, hey, I'm like a rare commodity.
I'm hot shit.
Yeah, you need to marry me.
It's an awkward situation. She's probably only going for them because she hears the ringing of the dinner bell that is TLC. But also, wasn't TLC not going to go with this family if it wasn't for Robin?
Yeah, there were rumors the Darger family was also a candidate for a TLC show, but obviously I don't think they married any other women. Because in the book, Robin, I don't know if this is a fake or true story, says that when she met Cody, he would off the cuff jokingly say to her, hey, I'm going to have a TV show. And she kind of scoffed at him saying, oh wow, you're just trying to get attention or something like that. She took that in jest. I can only imagine saying, well, you're going to have a TV show?
Suddenly she's just like, ding, ding, ding. And the winner is guy with the TV show.
We divert our attention to the topic of jealousy. Mary chalks it up as her own fault for feeling like this. Those feelings are there and they're natural, but I hope this is something I can overcome. And I have this stance, it might be unpopular. I don't know. If your partner gives non-platonic love to more than one person, jealousy should be the normal reaction. I don't know.
Yeah, no. This is a thing that happens in all kinds of churches and stuff, especially in cults, where it's, oh, you're unhappy? That unhappiness is a sin. So you need to stop that unhappiness. It's basically like victim blaming. It's one thing to be jealous about the neighbors because they bought a new RV and you're jealous about them, and it's thou shalt not covet and all that nonsense. It's a complete other thing to being, I'm having less access to this person who's supposed to be supporting me emotionally. That is a communication that something's broken down. That jealousy can mean that you need to address this issue. But if it's, oh, that jealousy is Satan, then the issue never gets resolved and you never get what you need, and you also feel like you're a sinner during the whole thing.
So it's not good, because in my head, the only way for me to not have feelings of resentment if my partner was dating multiple women is to stop having feelings for them altogether. The feeling of jealousy is a sign that I love my partner. I don't know. I mean, just don't take that to crazy levels. In a lot of polyamorous arrangements, I do believe there can be a point when you feel genuine feelings of acceptance and understanding. I don't believe the women in this cult are doing that. They shove their feelings down and claim that they've overcome their feelings of jealousy while secretly believing their religion is unfair.
Yeah, I'm surprised that any polyamorous relationships last, but I mean, some of them do. And it's because there's this inherent equality. There's this equal, symmetrical thing. I believe for this for you and you for this and all this stuff. But in this situation, the women are inherently powerless. And it sucks.
Watching these women keep on saying that this is some sort of shortcoming that they need to overcome is exhausting.
This whole show is exhausting.
The family powwow comes to a close. They conclude with a group prayer and wind down for bed. Cody lies to us that he tucks all his kids in every night, / does a bed check, for the express purpose to see if all are breathing and doing okay.
He doesn't care if they're drinking, though.
Gosh, poor Truly. The next morning, Cody is seen driving in his white sports car on his way to Robin's, who lives 5 hours away in southern Utah. They show brief glimpses of her giggling like a schoolgirl at the prospect of being taken out to a Mexican restaurant.
By a man who has a TV show.
Christine ends the pilot with a dubious train of thought. I do like things easy. I like just having 3. I'm hesitant to accept another one. I don't want to be a boat rocker. I don't like my boat being rocked. But if it happens, then she has to be absolutely amazing. Otherwise, this might be difficult. She raises an eyebrow as the screen fades to black. End of episode.
See, we all just expected it to go from this point directly to what's the newest season?
To season 17.
Yes. Nobody expected the 15 seasons in between. They thought that it was immediately going to collapse. And that's the reason why this one season's been so popular, is because it's like, God, it's finally happening. And Christine's sitting here knowing it's going to happen from the very beginning.
She is the prophetess of the family. So here, why don't you give us a too long didn't listen.
Everybody is just super stoked about the fact that they're going to get paid, except for Christine. Logan is the true MVP. It is factual that Truly had transition lenses in the womb.
Awesome job. Here's Marty.
He's more concerned about getting dinner than anything else.
Okay, yeah, we'll probably feed him. Okay, so thanks for watching. Sorry it took a while. If it takes a while, it's not because of the recap, it's because of the cartoon. If we just did a recap without any animations, we could probably bust out potentially 2 a week, but...
Yes, but it would drain away my soul.
So, bye!